Senpai, you're a boring fuck. Well, if fish out of water fantasy comedies are no good, what genre do you want? Uh, is this still me? Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
it's still you.
I know that if this were an Otome game or something, he'd at least fall for you since you met in kind of a weird way. Not really. I wouldn't say being a customer at a store is
that wouldn't
weird.
really be weird.
Like, weird as if he, like, fell out of the sky and landed on her or something like that. Or fell out of a tree and landed on her.
Yeah.
And he'll either show up really shyly at the store to buy something else as an excuse to see you, or you'll just keep bumping into each other all over town until you become friends. I am already exhausted, but since you say he's such a weird guy anyway, don't you think a fantasy scenario would be a lot more fun?
I sigh. Really loudly so that I know it's going to carry through the cell phone receiver. Give me a break.
Or me a break, that would be nice.
Gotta get a break of that Kit Kat bar. The girl on the other end of the line is Hiki Shiu, who I guess qualifies as my best friend since Natsuko was a bitch.
Yup.
She's a year younger than me and is in her last year of high school as of this month, and still tends to call me her senpai even though I've graduated already. But that's not such a big thing to remark on considering her eccentric personality.
Yeah, she just wants you to notice her.
From her comments about games and anime, you probably assume that she's a great big nerd or something, but it's actually quite the opposite. She is very social and outgoing, and even though she's not one of the popular kids per se, she's still really friendly, and I don't think she's got any enemies. She's been on the track team at least since she was in middle school, and the two of us met in the music club when I was in second year, and she was in first. On top of this, her grades are pretty good, and next to most students her age, she seems to be incapable of worrying about her future. Despite being someone who likes and is good at dealing with the real world, she loves fantasy stories of all kinds and spends her free time playing video games and visual novels and watching TV like a total otaku.
So she is a nerd.
A little bit. Apparently, it's because fantasy is fun. I don't get what such an escapist genre does for somebody who's that legitimately satisfied with her life, but there you have it. She likes what she likes.
Anyhow, senpai. I need to lean closer because I can't read. You are going to be seeing him again if he thinks to come... Fucking what? You are going to be seeing him again if he thinks to come and pick up his things. Why is that sentence so awkward?
It isn't, though.
It isn't, but my brain is okay. So you can give me more details after that. Then I'll give you a better genre evaluation, okay?
I don't know why I'm even having this conversation with you. He's probably just late to outgrow his middle school escapist fantasies or something. A little like somebody else I can name. Shiyu just laughs. Apparently the dig has either flown over her head or she's choosing to ignore it.
Probably choosing to ignore it.
Yeah.
If nothing else, you're at least finding him interesting. You're talking a little like a mad mathematician with a really weird set of proofs to organize. That's the kind of excessive obsessive fascination that's been in your voice when you talk about him.
Where does she even come up with these similes? I think that usually you'd make a reference to mad scientists in a situation like that.
Maybe, but I think that mad mathematicians are more original and interesting, don't you? Besides, a mad scientist examining a totally new species or whatever is most relevant to their field. Would probably sound a lot more excited than annoyed. Unless it was overturning a big thesis paper or something they'd spend a lot of time on, I guess, but then that doesn't parallel to your position too well either.
Stop treating the search for a fitting simile like some kind of author an hour from her deadline who's stuck on the absolute perfect turn of phrase. I might laugh at you for saying something especially corny, but it's not like you're going to lose your job or like an editor is going to tear you to pieces over it. It seriously doesn't deserve the amount of care you put into it.
Just as someone who has written on a deadline, when you hit that deadline, you aren't going to go flowery. You're just going to go for really, really, really loquacious spot the dog book. Like, Shisabot, run really fast into the hills. Like, you're just going to add shit you don't need. Aw, Senpai, I don't think if you're allowed to try to... What? God, I can't read. Aw, Senpai, I don't think you're allowed to try to suck the fun out of things like this if you're going to turn around and beat me at my own game.
This is your fault. I talk to you too much. She laughs. It sounds like a petty villain from one of her silly early morning shows snickering. And given that, I do have to wonder if she's doing it on purpose.
Probably.
Yeah. I've got nothing to say to that, so I just roll over again and close my eyes. I can hear the news distantly from downstairs where my parents are, but it's nothing actually interesting. Just some report about scientific advances in the military, or something.
I read that as
like
animal sacrifices. What?
That's nothing interesting, just your regular ritual sacrificing.
Nothing interesting. Just Satanists in the woods.
We do this so that the snow does not consume us all.
I mean, as someone from Michigan, yeah, that's pretty legit. We've been behind on our sacrifices this year. That's why it's been so cold.
You need to get on that.
Yeah, I ran out of chickens.
You gotta wait for them to grow up and then...
Yeah, they gotta be a perfectly sized chicken.
Yeah. Local newscasters must be overly proud about the accomplishments of scientists attached to the National Defense Force, because there tend to be a lot of reports and stuff like this if they've got nothing else to talk about when it's news time. I'm used to tuning it out by now, so I just let the words wash over me meaninglessly. Well, I guess if he comes back, I'll give you a rundown.
I'll look forward to it. The continuation of the mysterious case of Kuro-kun. Kuro-kun's Adventure in the Countryside, Episode 2.
Don't go one-sidedly sticking a title on this when you haven't assigned it a genre.
It's action-adventure.
It's gardening.
Gardening adventure. No, action gardening. Kuro-kun something part the second, I don't know.
If we're even reading his name right.
If we're reading his name right, Senpai, I don't think there's any other way to read it. What? If we're... Fucking, I cannot read English today. What is wrong with me? Oh my god. If we're reading his name right, Senpai, I don't think there's any other way to read it as a name, though. Or we could go with Daya-kun or something.
It's Kun.
Kun.
It just sounds weird when you say Kun.
Kun.
I don't know why that sounds so weird.
I could drop the honorifics.
We're already calling Tomoe Mo.
That's true.
It's pretty bold for somebody who hasn't even met... For somebody you haven't even met who's also older than you.
My inability to read is contagious.
Yeah.
That's true.
She laughs again, and even though she won't see it, I wrinkle my nose at her. This is very typical of Shiyu. She has a lot of energy, so unless you put up a lot of resistance, she'll wind up dragging the topic of conversation every which way until you wind up somewhere that's just incredibly absurd. It's a little mean, but I can't help but wonder if this is what it feels like to try walking a very big and very willful dog.
Wow. Anyhow, I'll talk to you later again, Senpai. Be sure to give me more details.
Yeah, go do your homework.
Roger.
She hangs up, still laughing, and I shut off my phone and close my eyes. The news is still on downstairs, but I refuse to pay attention to something that boring, so it's just a low buzz in my ears. I'm worn out just from having to deal with all these ridiculous things today, honestly. I'm already on the bed, and it's not as though I really care that much about turning off the lights or changing clothes. It's kind of the thing about sudden, odd developments. They take up so much attention and energy, they wear you out just as much as tedium.
Honey, that's called depression.
Yeah.
This isn't tedium, this is depression. Go see a therapist.
Friday. Crappy, crackly pop music blares out of the tiny speakers of my alarm clock, so I silence it with my fist. That's the spirit.
There we go. See, punch it in the face, just like it deserves.
I really ought to invest in a CD alarm or something like that one of these days. Maybe I'll splurge on something a little nicer than this stupid thing once I get my paycheck. If you get your paycheck. I mean, you're always late.
Yeah.
It's Friday today. That means that Shiyu has half of tomorrow off from school and will probably want to do something, since that was the kind of thing that we used to do. Still, at a time like this when I've already graduated, that might be impossible. I have to work for a while. Also, I really wouldn't mind extra time to sleep. Maybe I'm just feeling a little less than social, but if anyone tries to bother me about that, I'll hit them.
Wow.
That's the spirit, I guess?
Well, at least it's active and not passive.
Yeah. I mean, we were encouraging her to set people on fire, so...
Yeah, that's true.
I spend a while standing around aimlessly and trying to drag my outfit together and fix my hair while wondering absent-mindedly whether I should take my free time as impetuous to go back to the dojo. There are two very attractive things about that. First being that I will be able to go to exercise as an excuse to keep from dealing with annoying people. And second, that it's always good therapy to hit things. But then once spring and summer starts up, I'll have to work all the time, and that might be a pain rearranging my schedule so I'm not too tired to plan all day and then do martial arts. Working all day is definitely a thing that happens during busy seasons, and that kind of thing takes a lot out of you. Also, I kind of don't want to have to deal with everybody else being obnoxious at me for letting myself go or whatever, when I could have gotten my black belt soon, and so on and so forth. Actually, in that situation, the most annoying thing probably would be facing up to however much my skills have dulled in the time since I quit. Ew. No thanks, I have my pride. To finish up the thought that's gotten me on this tangent anyhow, I will hit anyone that tries to make fun of me for being antisocial, and nobody wants me to hit them. Still training in martial arts or not, as long as I can still hit hard and I know how to use the opponent's weight and force against them, then these skills are serving their purpose. Ergo, the world better not mess with me. Or something.
Or something. There's just a lot about her that's really keeping me on the honey, go see a therapist
Yeah.
track. Like, hitting things is great therapy. Yes, it is. It's also bad therapy if you manage it wrong. Like a therapist.
It's good therapy.
Yeah, like you gotta have a therapist is, actual therapy.
Yeah. I managed to stagger downstairs. I don't see my mom anywhere, but my dad is off in the kitchen, and there's a plate of eggs and toast on the table where I usually sit. Much better than yesterday. Unfortunately, I do have to drag myself to work today too, so there's not really any time for small talk over the table. At this rate, it seems as though I'll actually make it to Hakoniwa faster than I did yesterday. It's chilly outside, but warmer than yesterday. So I can bike a little bit faster without worrying that the cold air is going to take off a layer of cells in my lungs. It'll just be another boring day sitting at the register, though, so there's not really any reason to go at a pace beyond leisurely unless I want to wake myself up. The last time, I realized that this says Hakoniwa on it, and I still love that. I don't know why.
Huh.
Anyway, wait, huh? When I pull up to the store, there's some familiar-looking idiot getting off a motorcycle in the front lot. Hey.
Hey. Wait. What is up with their parking spaces? Why are they all enclosed like that?
I don't know. I still want to know what is up with his face things.
He's a demon.
Yeah. Before I can really stop myself, I'm already calling out to him. Damn, looks like I've let myself get into customer assistant mode already while spacing out. Either that or manager has trained me well. We kept the stock you left here yesterday in the back, so I'll get that for you.
What is this pose?
I know, right?
1 second, I need to strike a pose. Blah. Like, huh?
Let me just show off my butt a little bit.
1 sec, let me get the tits and ass pose going.
Yep. He gives me a wide-eyed look.
Uh,
The stuff he forgot. Seeds and tools. What is with this guy? Has he forgotten that I work here or something? Or do I really look that unprofessional without the apron? Or don't tell me he thinks that wasn't polite enough.
ah!
He pounds his fist into his open palm with a lightning-struck expression.
I was wondering about that. I thought I'd made a note to get that stuff earlier. I guess that saves me some shopping today.
So, essentially what I'm getting out of this is not only did he not realize that he forgot things until today, he forgot that he even bought them in the first place.
Should he be driving?
I know, right? I don't know if I should be impressed or amused or sad.
I'm just saying, like, he should have gotten his own copy of a receipt. He should have noticed, oh shit, I didn't bring home, like, 1/3 of my things. Literally. Like,
So, like, you would think you'd remember at least a little bit of what you bought yesterday.
yeah, like, you'd think he'd remember, like, seeing her ring them up, stuff like that. Like, I've had people come back to me because they forgot, like, 1 can of fucking cat food because it fell on the floor.
Wow.
Like, yeah. Like, I'm just worried.
Come on, I'll take you to get your things. But airhead customer guy just tilts his head at me when I beckon to him.
I'm going to load up more anyway, so if it's still on the cart, I might just use it again.
He says this with a face that's half serious and half excited, while raising his hand halfway like a student venturing to answer a problem when they're not sure whether or not they're right. You're here to shop again?
What?
Mm.
One sec, I need to strike a pose before I you. Well, yeah, I only went home then yesterday because there's really only so much that fits into the sidecar. There's a lot of room at my house, and I can't wait to get started, it's true. But there's no point getting started until I have everything I need bought and set up. So I guess I was just going to come back and stock up on everything else? Tools and plants and stuff.
Wow, my manager is going to adopt you if she hears you say that. It just kind of slips out on its own, but for some reason he seems really pleased. He laughs a little with a proud and childish expression on his face. I send him in through the front with a yell to manager to let her know we've got a customer, and then go back out to lock my bike up and go in through the back to get my stuff. Once I've emerged at the counter, their manager is chatting up our return customer over the cart of things he forgot last time. I wonder how let down she would be if I actually told her that our blonde, weird, tattooed weirdo is an airhead on top of everything else. She'll probably have a better reaction the longer I string her out for, so let's go with that plan of attack.
Okay, then. Mo-kun. God. Mo, come over here.
Manager is beckoning me, so I go over to join them instead of taking my place behind the register.
It turns out that our customer, Kuro, intends to do some heavy-duty landscaping at his new home. And given the depth of the project, I believe it might be best to send an employee to help.
Leave it to manager to get straight to the point. But seriously, you really do read his name like that? The world's a pretty incomprehensible place, I guess. It's not that weird, I guess. I mean,
what? His name means black, right?
Yeah.
Or, like, is that really that odd a name?
It's not that, like, odd names, it doesn't make the world incomprehensible.
Yeah, like, an odd name is an odd name.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, that guy's name's Spoon. Okay. That doesn't mean that the world's incomprehensible. That means that he has a really, really unfortunate luck with getting a name.
Yep.
Like,
anyhow.
It all just means he is named Spoon.
Well, it's not as though my ears haven't perked up over the prospect of a hands-on job, but looking at manager and at our airhead customer, it's hard to tell whether this is coming from manager's enthusiasm. I did not say that right. Enthusiasm at getting lots of money from a generous newbie gardener, or whether this was actually this Spoon guy's idea.
He is Spoon.
Not getting carried away will increase its chance of thinking kindly of us and coming back in the long term, and it'd also be boring to have to go assist and then find out that there's not really anything for me to do. If you're thinking of hiring me to help, I'd like to ask a few questions as to what your plans are, just to make sure that you really need someone. Spoon smiles at me and nods.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Why is your name Spoon?
That's the important question. Why are you named Spoon?
How big a project are you expecting this to be? You've purchased a number of things already, but are you planning to set up a garden or landscape the perimeter of your house, for instance? He tilts his head to the side and closes his eyes for a moment before answering like he's seriously having to think about it. Being stared at directly by someone with such pale eyes is a little bit surreal.
Let's see. Well, my place is on the outskirts of the town, so there aren't that many other homes nearby, so I have plenty of room. I don't think that I have any specific plans yet, aside from a few different plants that I saw here that looked good when I was browsing yesterday, and which I already bought.
That you think you've already bought anyway.
Yeah, that you think that you bought. I guess, given the season that I'm thinking of putting in a few perennial... what?
Perennial.
I guess, given the season that I'm thinking of putting in... Why is this awkward to me? I am having so many issues.
I think that shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
I guess given the season, I'm thinking of, that is just awkward.
I guess given the season that... Fucking, I keep tripping over it. I guess, given the season, I'm thinking of putting in a few perennial things in the things. Not just plants, things. Just perennial things. Just plant a table.
Why is there a table planted in your backyard, Spoon? Listen.
Listen, it's just there to give the bar stools that are going to be coming in soon.
Just wait till my jelly bean plants start sprouting.
And then sort of going around from there and seeing where things end up.